Dom Azzopardi up there at the beautiful Sunshine Coast in Queensland, Australia. How are you?
I'm very, very well, thank you, Roscoe. Feeling for all you Victorians down there in lockdown too.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that. Most of us have seen the golf course the same as I am at the moment, and that's the backyard golf course, and that's why we're here today. My listeners on the podcast know that you've had a look at a few videos of mine. I sent out the SOS call for help. Maybe it was last year's lockdown, and you started me on a pathway to try and improve the worst part of my game, chipping. And if I was a better chipper, I could, I'd enjoy my golf more. I don't not enjoy it, but I reckon I could enjoy it more if I could improve my chipping. I'm improving. The work that we've done so far is making a lot of difference. And I just thought in this lockdown, it was time for a checkup. But I got to start with the big one. Congratulations, PGA Tour coach.
Yeah, thanks, mate. It's a great feeling. It's something we've worked at for many, many years. And, I've still got a photo in my phone of a whiteboard that Herbie and I did some goal setting. I reckon it was at least 5 years ago. And, bottom right corner is PGA Tour card. I won't tell you the year that he was meant to do that, but we've got there eventually, mate. And I guess, as you know, that the harder you work at things and the longer it takes and the more of a struggle, the more pleasing it is when you do get there. So, it's just I'm super, pleased for Herbie because I know what he's sacrificed and what he's put into this to get to where he is.
We chatted the other night on the podcast after it happened, and I talked to my fellow co-hosts and just basically said, look, I don't know the behind the scenes. I get a little bit of a chance to chat to Jamie about it, but I know that when Lucas and I played golf, his intentions were pretty clear, and Jamie's told me that his intentions were pretty clear about being in the States and making a good fist of that, and he set himself up this year to do it, and it's come off, and it's great. I think the Australian golf world is wrapped for him to have another player of such a high caliber on the tour, and we also talked the other night that the pundits are. We don't want to put the forecast out there early, but he could shake a few up next year. He legitimately could perform, or as he already has. But we're expecting good things. What about you?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I'm just as boyish. He's got the game for America, and he's. I just see there's so much more improvement in Lucas. He's 25. We've done because of COVID over the last 18 months, it's been difficult in a lot of ways with the amount of work we've been able to do. But, we have been doing a heap through online sort of coaching, and we catch up often on Zooms and calls, obviously. But I just think as my job as his golf coach, I'm always looking at how to make him better. And, I sit here now and think there's so much that we can improve in his game to make him better and better. And if he's 48 in the world and a PGA Tour card now, it's pretty exciting to think of where he can be in 3 years' time. And a lot of that, I guess, comes, Roscoe, from his belief and his drive and his want to, be better than what he is at the moment, which is, you can't teach that. He's got to have that inner drive and want himself, and he's certainly very hungry for that at the moment.
And that's what I said to the guys. I said, if anything stood out to me, it was exactly that point there about the belief and the desire to want to be there and deserve to be there. And he's ticked that off. So the rest is ahead. It's not written yet, but I look forward to seeing what does get written. I'm interested, because we're sitting here and we're about to have a look at my chipping, and you talked about coaching via Zoom. And obviously, I think the last time you were there was it March or so this year? You had that little stint across there?
Yeah, I was over there for about 3.5 weeks, sort of back in February into early March, and then did the hotel quarantine after that. There's talk I might try and get out there in November. He might want me out. Nick Pugh, his caddy, I reckon he's been home probably 8 weeks in 18 months, and, his poor wife is back there. So Herbie being such a great fella that he is, and he does look after his team. He's aware of that, and he'd love to get Nick home for a little bit. So he spoke to me about 2 weeks ago. Sort of creating the idea of maybe getting out there for a month in November and sending Nick home, and I might be able to get on the bag for an event or two, and also have a look at where he's at technically and just check in that way. So that may happen, but as you know, Roscoe's pretty hard to get out of Australia and back in at the moment. So I don't see that there's a great likelihood that will happen. Even Herbie coming home for Christmas is looking unlikely at this stage, because if he does, he might not be able to get back out. So, we're just, as I said, he's doing such a great job in that space with what's going on. And I think it's been huge for him being able to sort of set up a little bit of a base in America, in Orlando this year. And to hear him sort of say at events, he's looking forward to getting home, and him meaning home in Orlando, I think it's a really good thing that he's starting to feel at home over there. But I know how much he wants to get home at Christmas and see his family and friends, and it'd be great if he could, but we just don't know at this stage.
Now, you do a lot of work with him, obviously on Zoom, and we were talking before about your work on Skillist, your ranking on Skillist, and I've had Baden on the podcast before, great fella, and he's doing great things, as you are on Skillist. Talk to us about the rise of online coaching and your work on Skillist.
Yeah, it's a really funny one, isn't it? If someone had told me 12 months ago that, I'd be doing the amount of lessons and have the amount of monthly subscribers I have on, an online coaching platform, Skillist being what I'm talking about, I would have had disbelief. There's no way I would have thought that this would happen. I sit here now and I sort of think that we've only just started, and in 3 years' time, I actually think that probably half the money spent in golf tuition will be spent online. And I just think it's such a great way to learn for people. And I say that because, traditionally you have a golf lesson and, you send the person away in 3 weeks' time or 2 weeks' time, you have them back and, they've done some work and they've gone away and practiced a little bit of what you've said. But with Skillist, all my online monthly subscribers I have, I say to them every practice session, I want you to send me videos. And you're just looking at what they're doing every session they have and ensuring that the practice and the work they're doing is the right work and they're getting better all the time. And, it's not just that, I say to them all, I'm not just your swing coach, I'm your golf coach. And we talk about everything else within their game, whether it be their strategy, a lot of their mental approach to how they're going about playing around the golf. So it's just been ridiculous, mate. I've really enjoyed it over this time because, obviously I've been stuck home here and haven't been out too much with Herbie. So, I'm not one to sit on the couch all day and do nothing, and it's given me a real purpose to what I'm doing each day, which, as I said, I've really enjoyed it because I've seen some huge improvement with a lot of students throughout the world, mate. I think I've got 25 online monthly subscribers, and I think 4 of them are in Australia. So, there's about 8 countries that I have people that I'm working with on. It
blows me away, and I was talking to my coach at work, Chris McClatchy, and he mentioned and he reminded me that, you were one of the top performers on the Skillist app. And, he gave me an update of, because he's only just come on and where his clients are coming from. Me, as someone who owns a golf business that conducts coaching in store face-to-face, and he does that, I'm thinking, you're going to lose some business or, that sort of thing. But no, his clients that he's picked up are all around the world. And I was just quite blown away by that. And so, mate, well done. Let's have a look at my chipping, because we've had a couple of video sessions and I think, you've helped me greatly. If you wanted to let my people who listen to this know, they've heard me berate myself enough about my chipping, but if you had to give a synopsis of, me and my sort of short game, where would you start and where are we going?
Yeah, I see a lot of what you do in a lot of people who struggle in their chipping and pitching. And look, I'm really looking forward to seeing how you're going today because, we did do a little bit of work in the past and I think we're making some good gains and, I'm looking forward to seeing where you're at presently with it. But, it's funny. It's a lot like putting, that people who struggle a little bit with some fundamentals in chipping, and as soon as that breaks down a little bit and you start, chili dipping a few or skinning a few over the green, you just lose so much confidence and then you can't really see the shot that you're wanting to hit. And if you're standing over a chip and you can't see that, and you don't have the confidence that it's going to, be hit at the flight you want and land roughly in the spot you want, then it makes it very difficult to, perform that shot. And, the more that mentally comes into it, the more you technically start breaking down more and more. And when I say break down more and more, I think the biggest thing I see is people get more and more hitty at the ball, so they get quicker. They get really, especially through that impact zone, it's nearly as if they tense up through that zone, and that produces poorer shots, and then mentally they get worse and worse and more scarred, and it's just a vicious circle, Roscoe, as you very well know.
Yes, and that, I guess, articulation of hitting at it, that certainly is, I still battle with that, through the backyard chipping and chipping down at the chipping green at Peninsula Kingswood, which, funnily enough, it seems to be better more consistently more often when I'm there in that sort of course environment rather than the backyard. But I still fight this challenge of, coming out into the backyard, usually late in the day, just to clear a bit of headspace, picking up whatever club I'm choose to go with, and not knowing what to do. And I say that in a sense where I've always got a different thought. I've always got am I this way? Am I this way? Am I hands here, hands there, break, block, whatever? There's always, and I usually end up finding it, but it takes a little bit of time to get back to, oh yeah, that's right. And that worries me a bit, because, that must be how it happens on the course. Hole one, I might have a chip. I might not have a chip until the third hole, but I do know that I get there and go, right, is it this way or this way? And to me, I've just got to keep working and finding that action that I just know is going to happen without even thinking about it, like a 7-iron, like a driver, like anything else, because, I've identified that, I've got a 10-metre chip set up here. That for me is the distance, the get down the fairway, the hit maybe just a little bit of a push cut 7-iron into a par 4 or a par 3, just trickles off to the edge, catches a swale, you're 10 metres away. And it's that distance there that stops me from getting, up and down, stops me from getting up and down sort of thing. So anyway, that's where my head's at.
I think, Roscoe, on that point, think about chipping, and Gary Player, I ran a Gary Player Golf Academy in Singapore many, many years ago, and had the pleasure of spending some time with Mr. Player, and, asked a lot of questions about chipping and bunker play, because he was phenomenal in the bunker. And I think the one thing that I really got out of spending a lot of time with him was, every chip shot we have is different. Like most iron shots, you've got wind that can change things, and the lie, you might have your ball above your feet a little bit. But, when you hit a 7-iron every time, it's to a distance, and you're making the same similar sort of golf swing. Every time you miss the green, you're faced with a different shot. Now, that might be the lie, as well as how far you want to land the ball, how you want to release, what height you need to hit, are you going uphill, down a hill, where the pin is positioned on the green. So I think that creates a lot of uncertainty as to what am I meant to do to play this shot? And I think that uncertainty can lead to, a lot of doubt in your mind. So, one of the things I say to a lot of students when they miss the green, they're faced with a chip shot, one, make it really simple for yourself. Play the easy shot. Don't always play the shot that you'll see Lucas Herbert play. And then once you see that shot and decide to hit that shot, commit to it 100%. And, I think that way, when you're standing over the ball, you want to be making some practice swings and just creating a feel very simply with, one feel in mind to play that shot, rather than 4 thoughts around your technique. You can't have 4 or even 2 thoughts around your technique to execute a shot. You may have one swing feel, and that's about it. So, it sounds like, and I know with you and with most people who struggle, with a part of their game, they just overthink things and try and find, let's try this for this chip shot. Let's try this for this chip shot. Now, no, let's just go back to what you do in the backyard and have a feel. And, as you said, you can stand there and by the end of 20 minutes, have a feel and you're hitting quite good chip shots. All right, all you want to do is then take that feel to the golf course. And if it's the third hole and you create that feel and you don't hit a great shot, we don't go and start searching for 3 other different swing thoughts or set up positions. We just work with that feel. And, inevitably you might have 5 chip shots and you hit 3 of them with that feel pretty well. Okay, you take that away and, ideally what we're wanting with the other 2 chip shots are that they're, 15 feet, they're okay. And I think the more we can do that, the more you can push through, where you've been a little bit with your chipping game rather than continually changing things, trying to, think of different sort of thoughts when you're trying to execute chipping on the golf course. I just think, you're not going to get anywhere with that sort of mindset.
Now I'm going to change the camera in a minute and we'll hit some shots. But, the thing that improved me a lot and was with my stance and, that whole squaring up and almost closed stance chipping, which I think I'd seen before and I didn't really pick up on it. I might have seen one of the elite Australian players, chipping with this closed stance. And when you brought that to me, that was a game changer. And that's been one of the sort of significant things to help me just repeat and get that, the bounce of the club working. I think the other thing that blew you away was when you said, show me your concept of using the bounce. Now, I sit there and talk to people about bounce on wedges all day, every day, and I can articulate it. I know exactly what it does, but when I had to show you, I think you're a little bit taken aback with the lack of ability to use the bounce or the lack of understanding of how to use the bounce in an effective chip shot. So I think those 2 things have been, sort of game changers for me. So I'm quite keen for you to see what I can do now. I'm not warmed up. I'm in the backyard. Haven't been playing that much golf. I've just been hitting a few 5 p.m. chips. It's 9 a.m. now, so I'm a bit early for the usual chipping routine, so bear with me. But do you want to have a look?
Let's have a look. Can't wait, mate.
I'll just
flick the camera around. I mean, what you talk about with your square stance there and bounce. Delivery of club with any shot is everything. The way you deliver the club, both path and angle of attack is just paramount to what's going to happen to your ultimately your shot. And with chipping, I think it's even more important because the importance of understanding and using bounce correctly. So, I mean, I think that's where you are struggling a lot. And I see a lot of people so open in their stance and then get so outside the line coming in to hit the ball. And if you do that with no bounce, I mean, you're coming so steep with no bounce. Your margin for error in that strike is just so minimal. And it becomes very, very difficult to create any consistency.
The one thing that always, I'll use the term haunted me when I realised that it wasn't the right way, but back in the 80s, down in the Narrabeen sport and rec camp that they used to get, we used to get sent to as a sort of semi-elite type thing. Back in Ross Herbert's days, and you'll remember Ross Herbert, the great late Ross Herbert. They would teach us this technique called break and block. And, that was really, maybe it was to do with the equipment, maybe it was to do with, I don't know what happened at the time, but all it did for me was just present this leading edge and just, I think it was a downhill slope from there. I've got 4 wedges, mate. I've got 4 wedges. Which one would you like me to start with?
Let's just start with a fairly sort of basic 54, 56 shot.
Yeah,
something I think most of us have a sort of, 58, 60. Most have a 54, 56 and probably a 50, 52. I think's what I'm seeing more and more nowadays.
I can't see. I can't read. It is, as I said, it is early. There you go, 54. Can you see me okay?
Yep, perfect, mate. You might want to move your ball another 2 foot forward.
Okay, now, let me grab the bucket of balls. Now, if you listen to this audio-wise, you're just going to have to imagine me in my little backyard here chipping. if you watch the video, if you make a video of it, well, you can see it. I've got the 54, it's a 54-14. So I play, one thing I do know about my bounces, I tend to want a little bit more of it, and I play my 54 with a high bounce club, so which I think helps a bit of compensatory sort of stuff more than anything. But anyway, haven't hit a chip today, so let's go. Got the little net down there. Thin.
It's really interesting, isn't it? I go back, mate. Before you hit a shot today, you're doing some little practice swings there. Just do that again for me. It's incredible to see how well you do that. I can hear, and I'm sure anyone listening, don't even have to see this, can hear that club brushing the grass so perfectly every time. Can you hear that?
Yeah, I can, yeah.
Right. Why is it then when the ball gets there, things change?
That is the holy grail, Dom. That is the holy grail for me being, a scratch golfer. Is why? Why is it? Why does it not? And it's a good point, because I know. Thank you for telling me that, and I feel better now. So I'm starting to feel a little bit more confident. But it's a great point, and I get here to set up for that little 8.5 metre chip, just a little flighted one, as if you're going to carry it across the, 4 metres onto the green and let it run down to the pin. And I'm sitting here going, should I have my club behind the ball, or should I have it like an inch away?
Wow.
And that's an example of what sort of where it's at.
So, mate, I've been fortunate enough. There you go. That looked good. I've been fortunate enough to work with Jamie Glazier, who I think most who listen to your podcast and know Jamie quite well.
You think I know a bit about that sort of stuff too after 40-odd episodes of listening to it? Absolutely.
I mean, I've learnt so much from Jamie, and I love a lot of what he does in this space here. I mean, have you done much of this with your eyes closed?
No. The most I've been to, in terms of different technique or different drill type thing is, one-handed, that right-handed drill. So,
watching you do your practice swings and watching you hit, 6 shots that I've seen so far, technically, mate, you've got it really good. There's not a great deal going wrong with what you're doing. You're a little bit shut still going back, but not much. I mean, that's really improved. I remember early days you were very shut going back, which I see a lot of people tend to do, and that might go back to sort of what you said about years and years ago, hitting down on the ball and keeping the face shut. But, with the new equipment, the way the ball spins and everything, I'd like to see that open up a little bit more going back. Well, didn't see that one. But, my point is, mate, you're 9 out of 10 technically, and here you are doing these little practice swings that are perfect, and then the ball gets there. And as I said at the start, most people then get a little bit hitty. And when I mean hitty, their focus is on the hit of the ball. So when you're doing that practice swing, see how you're just freely swinging through that impact position and into that finish position, how freely that swing looks, and it is a swing. And then when the ball gets there, you're very much hitting at the ball. So, that's where Jamie does a lot of work with the eyes shut stuff. So you're just feeling the sensation of swinging through impact without making a hit at the ball. So, that's something I think might help you, is to do some of that with some eyes shut. The other thing is, and I do this quite a bit with people who struggle in this space, is get them to really feel like through impact, it's slow motion. So through that, might be a foot either side of the ball, I want you to hit a few now and just feel like it's really slow through that part of the swing to get rid of that hitting motion.
Yeah, I can feel that immediately, even just doing that.
I mean, don't worry about distance control at the moment.
Yeah.
What we're trying to get always with chipping is a really consistent strike of the golf ball. Because if you can strike the ball consistently every time, then you've got an opportunity to control distance with the length of your swing. But we don't want to control distance by how hard we're hitting the ball. It's a lot like putting. It's very much the length of the swing. We want to keep it fairly much the same with the speed. And, if you're skinning shots, fatting shots, struggle with your distance control because of that. So the more consistently we can get you to strike the ball, the easier you're going to find it to start controlling your distance.
Yeah, I can feel that. And I think the speed or that, lack of speed control, distance control comes with, I think that is born out of anxiety. I think so.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. I mean, that's looking a little bit better through impact now. You're just really softening it down, just really slow motion through the ball.
It feels much better. Does it look solid to you?
Yeah, it looks good. As I said, technically, you're 9 out of 10. It's looking really good.
You pointed out before a bit shut. So that was another concept that, sort of I had to go away from this whole like this to getting more like this. I had to just work with that a bit. And
as I said, you've done a pretty good job with that. It's a fault I see a lot with people chipping. They go out, even inside and shuts worse again.
They seem to be, even if they're not perfect, like if we're in a golf course environment, it's still going to be, 10 feet, not 6 feet, so to speak.
Yeah, and that's huge for me is, if you can start having confidence that it's going to go in the air, that it's going to land somewhere near the spot, and even if it's 10 feet, not, as you say, inside 5 feet, and that's your worst shot, you start gaining confidence, start believing that, you're not a bad chipper, because, that's the first thing we need to get you to have a concept of and a belief of, I'm a pretty good chipper now. And then once you start believing in that, you can go to the next strength again with your chip.
This little shot here looks like it should be sort of middle to middle back sort of ball position. Is that where you sort of play the?
Yeah, I mean, do your practice swings again, mate, and you tell me where that club's bottoming out.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, middle to middle, just it's just sort of there.
Yeah, I mean, that's always a good way I say to people, because I'm looking down the line from here and I don't know where your weight really is. Like, obviously, people can lean a little bit more forward than some. That changes where the axle is, if you like, or where the low point of the club's going to be. So, I think that's a really good way to find out where your ball position is just make some swings and where's that club hitting the ground? Where's your low point? And that's, sort of telling you where that ball position should be.
Okay. So weight should be a little more forward, or can I go neutral on the weight, left, right, balanced up, or?
Yeah, fairly neutral. I mean, again, I want to keep it fairly simple for you. Once you have the right fundamentals here and you're fairly confident just hitting this shot, and landing it, in the same spot thereabouts every time, then we can start going, okay, let's see you hit a lower one, let's see a higher one. And that's when you can start changing your ball position, your hand position, your weight, but I wouldn't be worrying too much about that at the moment. I spoke earlier about every chip shot you have when you miss a green is going to be different. And I think one of the things that someone like you can do is try and play the perfect shot too much. And that, you play this one a little bit further back and your hands are forward and, it becomes more difficult for you at this stage. Just hit a basic shot, and get it within 6 feet and go, happy with that and move on. And once you build the confidence that that's happening all the time, then we can start looking at altering things with your setup, which will then determine, the way the ball's going to come out lower or higher and checkier or whatever it might be. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense, and I don't know if this makes sense in what I think that I should concentrate on first, because that's what I try and do here, is just worry about strike first. Try and get that contact. And I sort of believe if I can work on the contact and get the contact better more often, then I can start, because I can play a high lob shot, I can play a low pitch run, I can do all of that. I know I can, but just getting that contact. If I get that contact right consistently, and even just with this little one, if I could walk up here and hit, 20 of these with 99% efficacy of strike, I know what that would do. I know how it should feel. So does that make sense? Is that it?
Absolutely, spot on. Couldn't agree more. One thing, important thing I want to ask you here. I mean, you've hit quite a few shots there, looking better. What's your feel? Okay, so I want you, next time you go and play, not to be standing over every chip shot with 3 or 4 different thoughts, but to have one feel. So if I said to you, with what we've done here this morning, what's the feel you have to execute the shot? What would you tell me?
The feel of the club. I want to feel this part of the club in that practice swing solely on the turf with some level of just fluidity, some level of control. No, control is not the right word. Just fluidity, I guess. In that practice swing,
softness.
That soft feel with the sole of the club, the bounce of the club. Sorry.
Wonderful. So let's break that down even a bit more. So you're just feeling. So I love what you're doing there. You're feeling the bounce or the sole of the club bruising the grass coming through. Yeah.
Yep.
Right out. So set up to that ball and hit me one, and just you're not hitting the ball. You're not thinking too much about where it's going or the strike.
I did that. It was the most sweetly struck shot I've hit, most sweetly struck chip I've hit yet.
So we're taking out that hit and you're just focusing on a feel of the bounce of that club bruising the grass, bouncing along the grass, skimming the grass, whatever you want to see or feel. Right, that's your feel. That's all you're working on. The worst thing you can have here is so many different thoughts in your mind while you're trying to hit that and execute that shot, especially when you get out on the golf course.
Okay, that's great. That's as you probably see, I don't know, you see with a lot of. Tell me if I'm wrong. Do you see with a lot of your clients, that they can articulate, they can do, but it's like a jigsaw puzzle. They just need to be able to put all the pieces of the jigsaw puzzle together to be able to execute the way that they should.
Yeah, I mean, and through a lot of what I do online coaching with that Skillers platform is, what I do with a lot of students is try and force a change. Now, that can be through all sorts of drills, teaching aids, alignment stick in front of them to stop them getting ahead of it, whatever, and get them to do that. And then I say to them often, right, what do you feel when you're forced to make that swing? And the thing is, you might have 20 different students and they'll give you 20 different answers. And it's okay. Mm-hmm. So what you feel there is your feel, and your feels are always correct. So, with that change we've made, that creates for you that feel. Rightio. That's what you need to run with, take, and just really focus on. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. I don't know if you noticed all those 6 or 7 chips I was hitting while you were talking there, but
they were perfect.
They've all gone into the net. They didn't miss. There wasn't one thin, and there definitely wasn't one fat. I hope that it looked like it was a little bit slower motion. It did feel like that. And, the worst case scenario was it landed maybe a metre short of the drop zone. I can take that. Okay, that's the worst. This is good, Dom. We should do this more often.
Love to, mate. I just love helping people. I want to see you go out there and enjoy a game more. And, I've worked with so many people over time, mate, that have struggled in different ways, whether that be putting, chipping. I've had people struggle off the tee, struggle to hit the ball off with an iron shot, whatever it might be. And, the reason I love getting up in the morning and doing what I do, mate, is just seeing people enjoy and improve and love playing golf more.
Mate, thank you for that little touch-up, confidence session. It's good to know that, from where I started to where we're going, that I've been able to do, even with a few sessions with you just online over Zoom, over sending some videos, that I've hopefully been able to show you some improvement. Every student wants to show their coach some improvement, so I feel like I've done that. Hopefully I have. And, mate, it's been great to catch up. Thanks for the insight into, your world now as a PGA Tour coach. Did you ever, if you roll, just in closing, if you roll yourself back to, working in Ballarat, working in Bendigo and all of that sort of thing, was that on your little bottom of your list as well, PGA Tour coach?
No, can honestly say no, mate. No, yeah. Never thought that I'd be there. I guess, in the last 5 years with Herbie, I've always thought that, I've always thought he's good enough and he'd be on the PGA Tour, but I don't know that I ever stopped and thought I'll be coaching a PGA Tour player. I mean, it's not how I work. But, now you're there. It's funny, even now I don't sort of sit here going, I'm coaching a PGA Tour player. I'm just thinking more of ahead, right, I'm not satisfied with that. He's better than that. I want to coach a winner of the PGA Tour. I want to coach someone who, as you can probably see some flags up here on the wall, mate, every major that any student of mine plays in, I get a flag and get them to sign it and put their scores up. I want one up there with a top 10. I haven't got that yet, and then ultimately with a win on it. So, I guess that's what drives us, isn't it? We always want to, take it to the next level.
Mate, I can see a bit of crystal wear over your shoulder there. Is that the trophy from the Irish Open that Lucas sent back for you to look after?
Look at that little puppy, mate.
Yeah.
Lucas, well, he's funny. He'll take a lot of credit for things, mate. I sent it back to my coach. It was actually who rang me and said, "What's your address? I've got to get this trophy sent back." And there's no point sending it to Herbie's place. So I sent him the address, and the trophy turned up. And it's a long story. It was actually, I live in a gated community here in Pigeon Springs, and there is another gated community, Sentosa, and it was sent to number 33 at the other gated community, and it was left on his back porch in the box.
Oh, dear.
So I got a phone call from this guy who had just started playing golf down at Pigeon Springs and had heard my name down there, and it had on the box Dominic Azzopardi. So he rang the golf club and said, can you give me Dom's number? I've got a box here. I've got no idea what the box is. So they gave him my mobile number, and he rang me. And he said, "Mate, I've got a box here. It's a really big, heavy box. It's got your name on it." And I knew straight away what it would be. And I said, "Oh, okay, thanks, mate. I'll be around shortly and pick it up." So I popped around there. By the time I got around there, he's worked out what it was because it had Irish Open on it and everything. So we had a good giggle about that. And I videoed, me unpacking it, obviously, and sent that to Herbie. And since then, I've had the guy around here, and he's got some photos with the trophy. And, we owe him a little bit, mate, that we actually ended up with this trophy in our possession, old DHL.
Well, it's good to see that there are still good people in the world, good people at Pigeon Springs, and I'm sure he would have been more than chuffed to meet you and give it back. And as a new golfer down there, I'm sure you're able to give him a little bit of support, advice, and encouragement, mate. That's very good. It was great to catch up with Herbie the day after that win. He was sitting in Edinburgh, which is a pretty important town for me. So it was just a really nice opportunity to chat to him and Pewey. I think they were having a bit of fun that night. It was the day after, and it was good to see the lad, and he kicked on, did well in Scotland, and has done pretty well since. So, mate, I appreciate you taking the time there. You don't mind if I use this audio and send it to some people to, I think there's only 5 people that might listen. My dad, Rocket's mum, a few other people. You reckon they can listen to that? Is that okay?
Mate, if anyone wants to listen to this, go for it, mate. If you can get more than 5, well done, congratulations. Love you to share this. Hopefully it gives someone, a little bit of knowledge and help someone in any small way is always what we're after. But
I think next we'll touch base on this. I might get you to look at the full swing, the full sort of 8, 9 pitch. If I look back at it, that's the next area of development. Hitting more greens from that sort of distance, that seems to be where I play a lot of second shots from. So we might have a look at full swing, yeah?
Mate, let's make this a regular thing. Love it. Absolutely love it. Love to have a look at it.
Excellent, mate. Appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for taking the time out of your busy morning. I'll see you soon, Dom.
Thanks, Roscoe. Great stuff, mate.
Love your work. Yeah. Bye, mate. Thank you, mate.